big tangles. So there was me and Clive Buckley from 4:30 till 6:30, still untangling it all because it was just like a ball of string. And you'd never have thought that, would you? You know, the night before was all right, a bit windy, but then it was just a bit chaotic at the end.
864.21
metres.
I'm not sure exactly the number of flags.
It was 19,000, I can't remember, 19,600 odd flags. At a Randwick Historical Association meeting some months ago, earlier in the year, we were debating what we might do in order to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. And I suggested possibly one or two different things, but including a weather vane that we might fix to the village hall. This part of the weather vane was made out of one sheet of copper, and this part here, these two spheres, were made from the same sheet but separately, and so was the E2R. And then the whole thing was then put onto a brass rod which had a slot in it, and these things were slotted into it and then brazed in place. The whole thing was then, as I say, slotted into a brass tube which came down through this outer tube, and it sits on a marble which is situated at the bottom of the outer tube, so as to make the whole thing as frictionless as possible, so that it swings freely in the wind. We have two roofs that come together, one slightly below the other, and all we had to fix it was a very narrow strip between the two roofs. So this is the sort of bracket that we made for it. This is made of mild steel and coated, powder coated, and as you can see, the tube sits up there, and that brass tube holding the weather vane itself comes down to the bottom, and the marble that we talked about is situated down at the bottom there. When we had everything ready, we went on to the John Wadley and myself fixed this thing up. We had to put scaffold towers there because it's in rather an awkward place, and also we had to get up on top of one of the roofs in order to be able to fix it. But John and myself were able to do that without too much trouble.
That's the problem. Well, so I need to get the other end of it, unless I cut another piece out. Wait till Al gets the...
And we thought, well, we'll see how we get on with the first tower. And after about the first tower, I think we got about 100 yards down the road. So I think at that point we realised it was going to be a bit of a mammoth task.
Yeah, there were quite a few hazards really, weren't there? I mean, you had to keep it high enough for traffic to pass anyway. And you were getting yourself near electricity cables.
Okay, we're good on that one.
A whole day, was it, or more, than putting it up?
Oh, no more than that.
A couple of days.
2 days.
Friday afternoon, Saturday.
I spent about 17 hours.
Then we're up.
Well, it was Friday afternoon about 3 o'clock until 10, and Saturday from 10 until, was it 8?
I was about 8:45 to 10
Yeah.
to 8 on Saturday, because you were going to the camps for
We went for dinner.
sumptuous supper.
And I had to go off and get some chips because we were a bit hungry.
Yeah, got through a few chips.
We did.
That'd be a good starting point, wouldn't it?
project, you know, to design a length of bunting. The Brownies did one. The little tot script, the sticky fingers, they did theirs. And the little Skylarks, that's the preschool class, did.
Actually, it's both schools, Cassius Green and Brandwick.
Cassius Green School also did.
Yeah, both schools did.
And also the art group did a scheme as well. Yeah, it's hung up outside there. The Vine Tree is the local pub in the village, and what we've done is we've gone in through the front window, we've gone round the bar, and we've tacked it up right round the dining room and out through the back, and continued its way down the lanes and through the village from there. The landlord of the pub has asked us that we leave it there. We don't take it down, so he wants it to stay.
I met somebody in the Vine Tree last week, and they came from Birmingham, and they were being told about the buntings. The buntings in the pub, and they had and they had the Randwick runner, and they'd been talking to someone about the runner, and they said this reading the runner and looking at the bunting has restored their faith in human nature. Honest to goodness. And they said where they live this would never ever happen, and they were so chuffed that they've happened upon our like magical village that they thought that it never happened anywhere, and here we are doing all these sort of things. So that was really nice to meet those people.
He and his family got to know about it, and they live in Newcastle. Now, I'm not sure how they got to know about it, but they could tell us when Margaret rang, or they rang us for some reason.
I was in the Daily Mail.
It could be.
My mum rang me up at 7:30. Oh, you're in the Daily Mail.
Yeah. John Burden, who hails from Scotland, now he receives one of the Scottish newspapers once a week from his friends up there, and it was mentioned in that.
Was it?
In the north of Scotland. So I'm going to say that's, clear in itself, really, isn't it?
Did you see it in the Times, Nick?
Sunday Times.
Sunday Times.
Yeah.
Really?
And Val heard it mentioned on 5 Live, Radio
Yes.
5 Live.
Yeah,
which
they
is
interviewed us, didn't they? They interviewed us on Radio Gloucestershire, and then that viraled out to all the other radio stations.
But it did turn up on 5 Live, which is a national radio programme.
Excellent.
They're getting sewing parties up now because everybody really enjoyed it.
Yes, the ladies enjoyed this afternoon very much indeed. They came and had a chat and had a cup of tea, and it really made the day. They really enjoyed it, and it got them out and got them meeting their neighbours and catching up on the news, as well as this project. You know.
People who didn't live in the village, they said, why are you taking it down? Because if this is for the Jubilee, this is like for all year, and you could leave it all year, or at least for the summer, or at least for the Olympics. And they were like, oh, why can't you just leave it up? Anyway.
Well, I did tell most people when we were taking it down that we had to take it down because next week we're putting up the Christmas lights. And, we had to make way for it.
Yeah.
That we had subsequently in the runner, for example, I think they were representative of quite a lot of people's thoughts about it. The fact that so many people started to take part in it was, I think, a measure of what interest there was in it. And the fact that we were trying to beat a record as well, I suppose that had some sort of stimulation to it. I think it's typical, really, of our village. I think when something needs doing, people get together and do it.